As you can see, we have the Fummins build back in the shop. We are hitting the, what should be, I'm not gonna say is the, because you know how that works, what should be the home stretch on this thing. We got it running, we got it driving. I drive it in and out of the shop. We got the AC lines done. Those fought us quite a bit, but we came up with a good solution to where we didn't have the same problem and yada yada. So basically what we have left on this thing, barring any complications, is putting the front end together. So we need to get, you know, our radiator in, our radiator hoses done, our fan clutch on with the fan, our fan shroud fitting with the Cummins fan. We've got to get our intercooler in, our intercooler piping. We got to do some modifications. Sea condenser on, trans cooler, power steering cooler. Basically all the coolers and the front end has to go together. And serpentine belt on. And then we should be ready to really drive this thing, and it should be roadworthy. So anyway, to do so, we have a slew of parts from Mishimoto. For those of you who don't know, I didn't know before I started doing truck stuff, they do a bunch, they make a ton of truck stuff. They've even got like a upgraded radiator support, because something to do with the stock one flexes and cracks the radiator or something like that. So anyway, we got the upgraded radiator support. We've got hoses, intercooler piping, radiator, intercooler or transcooler. I mean, pretty much everything they make for a 6.4 Ford truck we have here on the table. Let's get this stuff out of the box. All right, ready? That was a weak snap. Hold on. Good enough. Man, it looks like a lot of parts in the boxes, but when you get it all out of the boxes, I mean, my workbench is just big enough to contain all this stuff. So this is the core support I was talking about. We've got a new degas bottle. It's gonna be far more durable than the old plastic Johnny. This nipple's already broken off of my plastic one. So anyway, we got that. We have radiator hoses. We're gonna have to kind of cut and splice these. Heavy duty transcooler, big radiator. It always blows my mind how big these diesel truck radiators are. I mean, here's my hand for comparison. This thing is freaking gnarly, man. And then this one's obviously even beefier than the OEM one. So we should absolutely not have any cooling problems, because this Ford radiator for the 6.4 is really, really big. I'm assuming they had cooling problems. So the Cummins radiator would be smaller than that. So just the stock one would be an upgrade from the stock Cummins one. And then this one is obviously another upgrade level from that. So we should be able to tow up any grade and not have to worry about temps. And then we got a Mishimoto intercooler as well. Freaking thing of beauty. Absolute beaut. No plastic intakes. I mean, let's compare this to the stock stuff. There's the stock radiator. Plastic intakes that break. There's the stock intercooler. Plastic intakes that break. So all this stuff is such a nice upgrade. We have intercooler piping as well. The only shame here is we got to chop some of this stuff up to make everything fit right. New couplers and T-bolts, and I mean everything. We should have everything we need to put this truck, the whole front end together, and have it nice, new, fancy, and upgraded. So first order of business is going to be diving into the fan clutch, getting the fan clutch and fan assembly on. Obviously that has to go on before any of this stuff can go on. So to lube up the threads here, we have this Multi-Max synthetic lubricant from the Blaster Corp. Conveniently, today's video is sponsored by the Blaster Corp. They have become, honestly, a long-term sponsor of the channel. They've sponsored several videos, which to me is like, it's so rad, because I've been using their products the entire time I've been working on cars. All of you know and use the products as well. Everyone swears by PB Blaster, and I don't know, it's just cool to have a company like that on board and helping out with the channel. So huge thanks to them for that. But the Multi-Max synthetic lubricant. So this is a premium synthetic multi-use lubricant. As you can see by the list, it works on a lot of stuff. So the biggest thing here is this has their new Pro Straw, and I've been using this on my PV Blaster penetrating oil and on these synthetic lubricant cans, and this thing is a freaking game changer. Such a simple but like amazing innovation. So you've got normal, full blast. You can then flip up the straw, and you've got aimed blast. But then on top of that, you have flow control, and this is the biggest thing for me, because there's a lot of times, like in this situation, I've already made a mess, but I don't need to do a lot. You know, I'm not trying to soak this thing down. So we got the flow control turned down, and just a little bit comes out. Boom, done. So anyway, that is super cool. Like I said, such a simple yet very innovative evolution of their can system. I mean, it makes such a big difference. You know, with any can I've got where the straw is taped to the side, you go to get the straw out, you finally get it out, it doesn't really want to pop in right, and then it falls off, and then it's gone. You know, it's like a one-time use thing, whereas this, it's just attached. You can switch back and forth. I mean, there's times where I need to spray something tight in here, and then I immediately after need to spray a wide pattern. Need to spray a little, need to spray a lot. Like, you have so much control with the Pro Straw. All right, let's get this thing on here now. All right, fan's on. I just want to give a huge thank you to the Blaster Corp for sponsoring this video. If you haven't tried out the new Multi-Max lubricant, give it a shot. This stuff is incredible. I've been using it for the past couple months and just really kind of seeing what it could do and how good it really is, and it's incredible. So anyway, pick up a can, give it a shot. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But moving on, fan is on. Now we need to figure out how our fan shroud's gonna fit. We're not gonna be able to tell like fully until we get the radiator in, but I wanna try to kind of get the top of the shroud on, maybe bolt it together and just see what we're working with. That steering reservoir is always in the way. One thing that's gonna be a little tricky is trying to secure this wiring. I've always found it wild that these fan clutches just have the wiring going in front of the fan, you know, because obviously it can get sucked into the fan. That happened on my last Dodge. I'm thinking we'll put a slit in here and bolt it down kind of somewhere like that, but it touches a little bit on that weather seal there, but let's keep on assembling. Our steering reservoir mounted. Ooh, this thing is beautiful, dude. Big old unit though, I'll tell you that. Loosely assembling our front end here so that we can mock everything up, cut and weld our intercooler piping, things like that, with everything in place. And then we will need to take it back apart and then put it back together. This is kind of just a rough mock-up to get everything in position. We got some caps to go here. We'll get that all bolted up. Good news is the fan clutch is right in the center of the shroud. Not too high, not too low. I mean, it is like the right size to freaking fit in there just fine. Got plenty of clearance to the radiator itself. This is going together. Oh, pretty good. I'm not gonna say it. Not gonna say it. Not even gonna speak the words. Not gonna do it to myself. One of the big benefits for me when it comes to building this truck is the fact that, you know, I like to work on stuff myself. I wouldn't say I like it. Sometimes it sucks, but you know, I'm the type of person, I'm gonna work on stuff myself. Anyway, what I was getting at is doing this build, like at the end of the day, when we're done with this, I know the truck inside and out. I know every last thing about how this truck went together. I'm building the whole thing myself. So, you know, it's really handy if I ever break down on the side of the road somewhere, you know, I can much more easily diagnose it than if I've never really dug into anything under the hood, you know, and if there's any major repair needed, I know how this goes together. I'm not learning how it goes together that time. So anyway, I find a lot of value in that, but you know, other people don't like working on their own stuff, and I totally understand that too. Condenser bolts to here, and the intercooler core bolts out front. There's so many coolers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 coolers, maybe more. There's a lot. I'm pretty sure we have to remove the radiator to get the piping in and out. And since we've got to cut and weld, we've got to do that numerous times. So that's not going to be the most fun, but I'm really happy that everything else is fitting good. The fan clears the shroud, no problem. That's sick. Radiator fits nice. Radiator looks freaking beautiful in there. It's going to be so nice to have all new Michi components, especially since, you know, with this hood design, you see all of this stuff back here when you open the hood. It's not covered by the grill. All right, I guess let's get the intercooler in here. Now for the crown. Look at that though, man, that looks so sick. It's a lot of stuff that's gonna go on between there and there, but again, we're just trying to kind of plot out our intercooler piping at the moment. We'll test fit all that stuff before we finalize anything, but it should be pretty easy. I shouldn't say easy, but after test fitting the factory replacement Mishimoto driver's side hot pipe, so this is 464, not for a Cummins swap, obviously. It's gonna be pretty close. It's gonna get us, you can kind of see the top of it there. There's gonna be a coupler there, and then we are pretty close up here. Obviously, this is in a different spot than it would be on the 6.4 Power Stroke engine that came in this, but it is very close. That's why the Diesel Conversion Specialist swap kit comes with this industrial air horn instead of the one that goes all the way over here. Goes forward, easier to make intercooler piping, doesn't get in the way of the coolant thing. This side, however, is going to be a bit more challenging. So we have this, which is the Mishimoto replacement factory 6.4 pipe. So it kind of goes like that. It's very, very, very small window between the radiator and the core support here. Mishimoto gives you some extra clearance, but it's still a tight fit. So my plan is to use as much of this as I can. But again, this is meant to come out in a different spot than where we need it to. It should get us somewhere in this neighborhood, and then we need to get down there. So we'll have to build our own custom deal from there to here. So luckily, we've got 3-inch straight, 3-inch U-bends, 3-inch 90s. So we should 100% be able to get both of those pipes to where they need to go with this box of 3-inch Mishimoto intercooler piping. It is really cool that they offer universal stuff as well, as opposed to just their bolt-on stuff. So we've got that. We've got the stock replacement ones. Now we just got to make it all work. So I do need to do a couple things back with the radiator off. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the intercooler core support radiator off, finish up some of these last little things that I don't want to forget, and then we'll put it back together and start making our pipes. Well, that worked out quite nicely, but the wiring's not quite long enough to be routed that way. So we're gonna have to route it the other way. All right, well, this is what I came up with for the fan wiring. I mean, definitely not super ideal, but we've got a ton of room between the fan and the wiring here. The wiring is zip tie. We've still got some slack back here. I think it'll be all right. I think it's about, like I said, about as good as we're gonna get it. We need to put the serpentine belt on, and we need to tighten down the fan clutch. Tension. Just try to knock out anything else that's going to be easier to get to with this stuff off, and then we'll start final assembly on at least the fan clutch, the fan shroud, things like that. We'll have to take it back apart again, obviously, for our intercooler piping, but try to get most of the assembly done. Alright, so we know we need to cut that bend off it pretty much no matter what. Alright, cool, we can get that pipe in. I'll have to figure out what it looks like when it's hooked up. I have to cut it even more. I'd like to make this pipe one piece that can go in, coupler, and then the next pipe. That way you don't have to pull a radiator to get the pipe out. Well, we're getting somewhere. We've got the intercooler piping hooked up to the intercooler, going through the radiator support into the bay. Obviously not coming out in an ideal spot for us with the old Cummins, but I've got a couple ideas. We have the stock replacement hooked up to the intercooler here. That one fits really well. As you can see, it comes up right to here. We've got this guy. Wow, this is really close to fitting. That makes life pretty easy, huh? I want to make sure I can still do that. Before I continue with the intercooler piping, there's a few more things that might end up in our way, such as the lower radiator hose. You can't even see the outlet. This is a tight area, man. It's a little rough. But there is the radiator outlet of the engine there, and then right down there, yeah, you can see it right there. It's the radiator portion. So we need a hose to go from there to there. We also need our upper hose to go from here over to there, which could interfere with this pipe. So I want to get those hoses done and out of the way before I make the intercooler piping, because it's going to be the hardest thing to remake. So I just kind of got my head down and have been hammering away at this thing, knocking out stuff here and there, and it feels good. I got stuck in that position. I don't know if you've ever been in it yourself, but basically, you know, doing this, finalizing the radiator, blocks off a lot of the ease of access to this other stuff. So I kept thinking through what I needed to do and trying to make sure that there was nothing that I needed to do with the radiator off before I went ahead and did all this stuff. And as I was kind of thinking, I just started tinkering and putting stuff together, and here we are. So we got the AC condenser on, we got the power steering cooler on. That was really nice because, you know, it was a bit ago that I took all this apart. I couldn't remember exactly where it went, and as you start going, everything just kind of logically falls into place. That's where my horns go, that's where that hose goes, it clips in there, so on and so forth. So I don't know, I'm really excited. When you see all this stuff strewn out, spread out so you can get to the center here, I don't know, man, it just, you're like, man, I don't remember exactly where this goes. I don't remember where that goes. How does that clip in? But then you start putting it together and it's like a big puzzle. This fits here with that. So anyway, moral of the story is this thing is really freaking coming together, guys. It really is. I've already checked to make sure the hood closes. It closes. So we are good to do our radiator hoses. Hey, that rhymes. So that's what we're gonna do next, because again, I wanna get, it's mainly this one over here. Anyway, let me get back to work. So radiator hoses, this has been a little bit of a debacle. That fitting was on this end of the hose. So I go over here, and this side of the hose is a little bit smaller. I really didn't think it was gonna be possible to get the fitting on there. I had given up, was about to cut up the Ford hose, and then I was like, you know what? Let's give the Multi-Max lubricant a shot at lubing this up just to get us, let us slide it in. I mean, it didn't seem like it was gonna be possible at all. Sprayed it, went like right in, like literally 2 tries, popped it right in. I am thoroughly impressed. I wish I would have filmed that, but anyway, we got that in. That's sick. I'm gonna do test cuts on the stock hose, try to get it sorted out. That way we don't mess up our nice Mishimoto hose, because I really like this setup with these nice metal ends. We don't have to worry about these cracking or breaking like these will. Should be a lot more durable. So yeah, let's do that. So here's my trial run with the stock hose. Obviously this is gonna clip on to the radiator. This is gonna go on to the Dodge water inlet, and then this goes up to our expansion tank overflow degas bottle. They call it all called something different, even though they do the same thing. So yeah, let's try to get this in here, see if this cutting and dimensions are gonna work before we chop up our nice Mishimoto hose. I think I need to trim this leg here. All right, got it a little shorter. That's still too long. Alrighty, got her in. You can see that center sleeve. So it goes on the radiator, right, goes on the engine. That's basically the shape and size it needs to be. So we'll just copy that over to the Mishimoto silicone one. But yeah, we got it done. Well, sort of. We're halfway there. We got the test fit phase done. So now I'm gonna make the other one, and we're gonna reinstall. Hopefully we're good. We can move on to this one, the upper hose. There we go. Just gotta switch in this guy. Some clamps, clamp her up, and there's our completed hose. The nice thing about this too is if we do have any sort of issues down the road, we basically have a spare hose here. I've just got to make sure to hang on to this. Need one more clamp for here. All right, I guess let's put it in for the final time. Hopefully the final time. All right, hopefully we can get this in without too much trouble. It's a little tricky, just based on where everything is and where everything has to go. Got one side on. Second side's gonna be a little trickier. I think I might have to shorten it some. Yeah, I definitely need to shorten it some. Oh, she goes again. Lower rad hose is in, clipped onto the radiator there. Goes in into the outlet there. Got her on, boys. And again, that barb there goes to our overflow expansion tank deal over here. It's gonna go on right there, basically. I wanna knock out the upper one and then intercooler piping. We're getting there. We are really getting there. It's hard pipe, and you've got this small to big. I think I'm gonna need to put the intercooler back in, so this pipe is where it's gonna be before I make any cuts or determinations for this portion. Might cut this down a bit too. right, so like I said, we got to cut this down some. See, it's a little on the long side. Let's try that. All right, so we can cut pretty far on this guy. Boom. That's on. Hose clamp right up to our barb. Now we got an upper radiator hose, guys. Ladies and gents, boys and girls. Beautiful. All right, sweet. Check it out. There's our upper rad hose. Looks great. Gives us plenty of clearance for our intercooler pipe, our cold side pipe. Fits nice on the radiator. These Mishimoto ends are really, really nice. In worst case, if we do have a hose failure, you know, we can detach this from the hose and just replace the hose. So, but anyway, looks really good. I'm really excited about that. That lower one was a little concerning. I thought it might be a struggle. And it wasn't the easiest thing ever, but it went on just fine. Went ahead and got the cardboard off the radiator finally, because hopefully we shouldn't have to take it back out. I know now that I took the cardboard off, we will, but I was kind of at a point where if I put anything more on here, I couldn't get the cardboard off. So really the last hard thing we got to do is this intercooler pipe, and it could go easy. Like I said, I want to put the clamp right around in here, the connector, and then it'll just kind of shoot straight back, down, back up into the turbo. That's the plan, Stanley's, but we'll have to attack that another day. We have run out of time, but we got a lot done, man. This thing is really coming together. I mean, once that intercooler pipe's made and that intercooler pipe is sorted, it's just putting the rest of it together. Transcooler on, heater hoses, fill it with fluids, go try to drive it, man. We are very freaking close. But again, we are out of time for today, so I'll see you guys for the next one. Hopefully we'll be driving this thing around properly, not with open intercooler piping and stuff and no front end, properly. That is the goal. I'll see you guys for that, but for now, that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, goodbye.